From sold-out stadiums chanting their names to the quiet echo of forgotten glory, the world of football is littered with tales of superstars who reached the pinnacle, only to experience a dramatic and often tragic fall from grace. Today, we're diving deep into the captivating stories of these footballing giants, exploring the dizzying heights of their rise and the heartbreaking depths of their decline. What makes a hero stumble? Is it the pressure, the fame, the money, or something deeper? Let's find out. Let's start with a name that once embodied pure, unadulterated joy on the pitch, Ronaldinho. In the mid-2000s, he wasn't just the best player in the world, he was a magician. His smile was as iconic as his no-look passes. With Barcelona, he won everything: La Liga titles, the Champions League, and the Ballon d'Or in 2005. He played football with a somber rhythm, a style so infectious that even rival fans couldn't help but applaud. He made the impossible look effortless, bringing a level of flair and creativity that few had ever seen. He was the king of the Camp Nou, a global icon whose talent seemed boundless. But the party, as it often does, eventually came to an end. Ronaldinho's love for the nightlife and a less-than-disciplined training regimen started to take their toll. His peak was breathtakingly high but surprisingly short. By the time he left Barcelona for AC Milan in 2008, the magic was already beginning to fade. The once electric pace was gone, the consistent brilliance replaced by fleeting moments of his former self. His career continued, with spells in Brazil and Mexico, but he never again reached those celestial heights. More recently, his post-football life has been marred by financial troubles and legal issues, including a shocking period of imprisonment in Paraguay. It is a stark reminder that even the most gifted talents aren't immune to the pitfalls that come with fame and fortune. His story is a cautionary tale of a genius who perhaps loved the party a little too much, a flame that burned incredibly bright but far too quickly. Now, let us turn our attention to a player whose talent was matched only by his volatile temperament, Adriano. The Brazilian striker was nicknamed L'Imperador of the Emperor during his time at Inter Milan, and for good reason. He was an absolute force of nature. Standing over 6 feet tall, possessing terrifying power, a rocket of a left foot, and surprising speed, he was the complete forward. Between 2004 and 2005, he was arguably the most feared striker on the planet, scoring goals for fun and looking utterly unstoppable. He was destined to lead Brazil's front line for a decade. The turning point for Adriano was a personal tragedy. The death of his father in 2004 sent him into a downward spiral. As he later admitted, the joy of football vanished overnight. He turned to alcohol to cope with his depression, and his physical condition deteriorated rapidly. Inter Milan stood by him, but the Emperor's reign was over. His commitment wavered, his performances dropped off a cliff, and he eventually returned to Brazil. There were brief flashes of the old Adriano, like when he led Flamengo to a league title. But these were exceptions in a career plagued by inconsistency, weight issues, and personal demons. Adriano's story isn't one of laziness or ego, it's a deeply human and tragic story about the devastating impact of grief and mental health struggles. It shows that behind the superstar athlete, there's a person dealing with real-life pain, and sometimes, that pain is too much to overcome, even for an emperor. Speaking of unfulfilled potential, let's talk about a player from the Premier League era, George Best. The Manchester United legend from Northern Ireland was football's first true celebrity superstar. He was the fifth Beatle. On the pitch, he was sublime. A winger with dazzling dribbling skills, perfect balance, and an eye for goal. He helped United win the First Division title and the European Cup in 1968, the same year he was crowned European Footballer of the Year. He had it all: the talent, the looks, the charisma. He was a cultural icon. However, Best's life off the pitch was as famous as his life on it. His struggles with alcoholism are well documented. He famously quipped, "I spent a lot of money on booze, birds, and fast cars. The rest I just squandered." While said in jest, it was a tragic summary of his life. The discipline required to stay at the top simply wasn't there. He left Manchester United at just 27 years old, the age when many players are hitting their prime. He drifted through various clubs in the United States, South Africa, and beyond, but the magic was gone, consumed by his addiction. His health battles continued long after his playing days, culminating in a liver transplant and his untimely death at 59. George Best is the ultimate what-if story. A player with the talent to rival Pelé and Maradona, whose demons ultimately won the war for his soul. From one troubled genius to another, let's cross over to Argentina to discuss the one and only Diego Maradona. For many, he is the greatest footballer of all time. His career was a whirlwind of divine talent and chaotic controversy. The hand of God and the goal of the century against England in the 1986 World Cup perfectly encapsulate his dual nature. He was a flawed deity. At Napoli, he was more than a player, he was a god. He single-handedly dragged a modest club to two Serie A titles, breaking the dominance of the rich northern Italian clubs. The city of Naples worshipped him. But the pressure and the temptations in Naples were immense. Maradona's addiction to cocaine began to spiral out of control, and his connections to the city's criminal underworld became a huge problem. A 15-month ban for drug use in 1991 effectively ended his glorious spell in Italy. He returned to the field but was never quite the same player. He was famously sent home from the 1994 World Cup after failing another drug test. His post-playing career was a roller coaster of health problems, including obesity and heart issues, and controversial stints as a manager. Maradona's life was a testament to his incredible resilience, but also a story of a man constantly at war with himself. He flew closer to the sun than anyone, and the fall was spectacular and heartbreaking, leaving a legacy as complex and brilliant as the man himself. Finally, let's consider a different kind of fall, one less about personal demons and more about the cruel hand of fate. I'm talking about Marco van Basten. In the late 80s and early 90s, the Dutch striker was the epitome of elegance and lethality. At AC Milan, alongside his compatriots Ruud Gullit and Frank Rijkaard, he formed an unstoppable force. Van Basten won the Ballon d'Or 3 times. He scored every type of goal imaginable, from powerful headers to acrobatic volleys, including that incredible, physics-defying strike in the Euro '88 final. He was technically perfect. But his career was cruelly cut short by injury. Persistent ankle problems, which began to plague him in his late 20s, forced him to undergo multiple surgeries. His last professional match was the 1993 Champions League final, at the tender age of 28. He officially announced his retirement 2 years later, at 30, an age where he should have still been at his absolute peak. Unlike the others on this list, Van Basten's fall wasn't his fault. There was no scandal, no addiction. It was simply his body that betrayed him. It's a somber reminder of the fragility of an athletic career. A player who could have solidified his place alongside the all-time greats had his legacy stolen by an injury that wouldn't heal. It's perhaps the most tragic fall of all, the one that leaves us wondering what more he could have achieved. So, what can we learn from these stories? We see that the path of a superstar is fraught with peril. The immense pressure to perform, the sudden influx of wealth and fame, the temptations of a celebrity lifestyle, and the ever-present risk of injury can derail even the most prodigious talents. These tales also highlight the critical importance of mental health and a strong support system, things that were often overlooked in previous eras. The stories of Ronaldinho, Adriano, Best, Maradona, and Van Basten are not just footballing legends, they are powerful human dramas. They remind us to appreciate the brilliance we see on the pitch, because as these careers show, it can all disappear in the blink of an eye. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this look into the rise and fall of football's giants, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the beautiful game. Let me know in the comments which other superstar stories you'd like to see covered next. See you in the next video.